It's all about standing out. Hey beauties, Beautiful J here. Today I'm coming to you guys with another nursing video. Today I'm going to be talking about landing a specialty job, and I felt like this video was very good to talk about because a lot of times when you're a new nurse like myself, you hear all the time, go to Med Surg, go to Med Surg, go to Med Surg. And although Med Surg is an awesome floor to learn a lot on because you're going to see a lot of things, oftentimes everyone doesn't want to do Med Surg, and that is okay if you don't want to be a Med Surg nurse. You do not have to be a Med Surg nurse in order to be a great nurse. I just want to let you guys know that. My first nursing job, I did get the opportunity to land in a cath lab observation unit, and that is basically where all of the patients come to after they have their cath procedures. So I was lucky and blessed enough to get on a specialty unit as a new grad nurse. And I'm going to tell you, you're probably going to have quite a few haters because not every nurse is going to get on a specialty unit. So your other coworkers, they may feel like you aren't supposed to be in that specialty unit because they have this mindset that you should be on a Med Surg unit. Do not let that discourage you. Your boss hired you for that position for a reason, and you belong in that unit, period, point blank. So I'm going to tell you a few things that I did to land myself on that specialty unit. Honestly, it was a blessing for me to get on that unit. Back when I was in nursing school, I went to a job fair in my hometown to basically get a job while I was in nursing school because I stopped working for a period of time and I wanted to get back into the hospital so that I could increase my chances of getting a job once I finished nursing school. So the first tip I would recommend is to try to get in the hospital that you are wanting to work at. So that way you have a better chance of getting a job offer once you finish school. I was at a job fair and for this particular hospital in my hometown, and they basically was looking for new nurses, new techs. Some hospitals have big job fairs to basically recruit a massive amount of employees at the time if they know that they need a lot of employees. So what they do is have these job fairs to help you to be able to get into that hospital. So I went there, I shopped around for the different locations for this particular hospital because this hospital do have different locations. It's not only in my hometown, but it's like another location and like 30 minutes away. It's like kind of all spread out in the surrounding areas of my hometown. And so I went to each section or each station to talk to them, and basically everyone was not wanting, no one was trying to offer me anything because they knew that I was so close to finishing nursing school and they would have to have replaced me so soon. I think I was at the time maybe 6 months from graduating from nursing school, and they were like, yeah, that's just not enough time for you to be working with us for that long. So some people didn't want to give me the opportunity to even get a job as a tech, which blew my mind because I'm like, I never had a hard time getting a job as a tech. Why am I having a hard time now? Needless to say, I went to this particular station for this location, and basically the manager absolutely loved how I was dressed for the job that I wanted, not the job that I was trying to get at the time. And I went in there, I dressed up, I had a skirt suit on, I had my resume in hand, I had my hair professionally, like I looked very professional when I went there, even just looking for a tech position because I knew I wanted to stand out and I knew I needed to get back in the hospital so that I could have a job when I finished. Needless to say, my now manager, he turned me away at first because I spoke with him, I told him, yes, I'm in nursing school. I finished in September, and at the time it was, like I said, 6 months out from September, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna be honest with you, you're probably gonna have a hard time finding a job right now because you are so close to finishing school, and they will have to replace you so soon. So that kind of like discouraged me, and I'm like, you know what, you know, God, I tried, I came here, I tried to get a job. It didn't work out. So as I'm walking away, he turns me back and he's like, you know what, I really love how you're dressed. You're very professional looking. I love how your demeanor is. You have a beautiful smile. It stands out to me. I want to extend an invitation for you to have a formal interview, because the job fair wasn't really the interview. It was just really for the managers to kind of scope you out and see if they wanted to possibly have an interview with you, which was great because sometimes when you apply for the job, you have to wait for them to reach out, looking over your resume and stuff. And sometimes you don't really have that opportunity to shine on paper that much as you can in person. So I was so glad that I went to an in-person job fair so they can put a face to the name. And so needless to say, he scheduled the interview with me, and he's like, let's come in on X date and we'll, you know, go from there. And so I went in dressed professional as well. We really didn't have too much of like the normal interview process because he had already had it in his mind that he wanted to hire me, which I really was grateful for. He offered me the position then. At the time, I thought that I was going on a med surg floor because he is also the manager for 2 different floors in our hospital, which is the neuro med surg floor as well as the cath lab observation unit. So when I went to him, I really didn't even know what position I was applying for, floors I wanted to be on ultimately after I finished school, which I always said I either wanted to do cardiac or I wanted to do the ER or ICU as well. I looked up. I was fortunate enough to be talking to the manager over the cath lab observation unit, which is an amazing cardiac floor. And needless to say, they loved me after speaking to me. The manager, because he's the overall manager for us, but we have like an assistant manager, I guess you could say, to speak for the cath lab observation unit, which is the unit that I'm on. And she fell in love with me in the interview with him. It was a group interview, and he's like, yeah. She's like, when can you start? And I'm like, today. But needless to say, I ended up started working there as a tech. I made sure that I was always on time to work. I never called out. I called out one time, not gonna lie. But prior to that, I've always worked my scheduled shifts. I never called out. I always showed up to work with a positive attitude. I always did my job. I always worked as a team player, and that really stood out to them. And needless to say, as time went on with them seeing my work ethic while I was there as a tech, they ended up offering or extending the offer to me to come on as a new grad nurse. And this was before I even finished nursing school. I was able to secure that job way before I even finished school, even sat for my boards, anything. They wanted to basically lock me in before I even thought about going anywhere else because they really liked me and my work ethic. So of course I let them know that I was willing to basically accept the offer because I wanted a cardiac floor anyways, and that floor was a very good floor to be on. Very blessed to be in that position, which is the position I wanted to be in, so that I knew once I graduated I had a job, because I didn't want to have to worry about stressing about finding a job after I passed my boards. So it was really, really a very great feeling to basically have all of those things in order. So that's kind of like the backstory on how I landed my job in the cath lab observation unit. And basically the tips that I would give you is, if you are able to go up there and or face to the name, like, do that. You want to really make sure that you stand out amongst other candidates and really get your foot in that door as quick as possible, so that way you can land or secure a job even before you finish school. And so if you are already working in a hospital, that's great, amazing. Try to really go around to the different units that maybe you want to probably be on and talk to the manager and get that manager familiar with who you are and your work ethic, because best believe managers do talk in the hospital, and if you're doing good on your floor, or even sometimes you have to float to a different floor, really just stand out on that floor so they can see what type of worker you are, so that way they want you. It's kind of like at that point they'll kind of be fighting over you in a sense, because they know that you're an amazing worker. But really just make yourself stand out. And if you don't work in a hospital, that's perfectly fine. Try to volunteer at the hospital. I know it may be a little bit harder right now with COVID and things going on, but really just, it's all about who you know in the nursing realm, honestly, in life in general. It's all about who you know. If you know someone that works on a unit that you possibly want to work on, talk to them to get their manager contact info to vouch for you, or whatever the case may be, but really just try to stand out. I've heard some people do cold interviews, which means you applied for a job and you just kind of go up there to follow up with the manager in person. Now, if you do decide to do a cold interview, make sure that you dress the part as if you are going for an actual interview, because you don't want to go up there with PJs on or whatever the case may be when you are trying to stand out. Me personally, I have my skirt suit that I wear when I go to interviews in general. You don't have to necessarily wear a suit, maybe wear some slacks or just business casual attire when you go up there, so that way you can stand out to them and really let them know that you're serious. Come with your resume and a nice resume folder and really just stand out and basically follow up with them on your application. Let them know that you're very interested. If you've done clinicals at that facility, maybe let them know you've done clinicals at that facility, you really loved it, you want to be a part of this organization because they align with the values that you believe in, and you just love how they help mold and teach new grads, and you know that that place will be beneficial for you to grow into the novice nurse that you ultimately want to be. So you really just want to sell yourself and let them know that you are serious, and let them know that you are going to go above and beyond the average applicant, so that way they know what type of person you are, so that when you work on that unit, or if they offer you a position to work on that unit, they'll know that you are the type to go above and beyond. So that's kind of what I would recommend when it comes to that aspect. And also, again, it's all about standing out. Make sure you tailor your resume to fit the job that you are trying to get, so that way your resume stands out. Really just take time to just put your resume together really, really well. Me personally, I use Resume RX. I'll put that information in the description box down below, because I really just wanted to make sure that I included the information that needed to be on my resume for the job that I was applying for. And I also wanted to make sure that it was organized professionally and all of those things when it came to attaching that to my application. So Resume RX, they had, she has a resume template, several resume templates, and she also has cover letter templates. Those templates are not only good for new grad nurses, but they're also great for nurses that have been nurses for years, or nurse practitioners. She has it for different situations in the nursing realm. These resume templates will be very beneficial because they're very professional, and it gives you an idea of what to include on your resume, so that way you are standing out amongst other applicants. And I really believe in just tailoring your resume and cover letter to the T, so that way they take you seriously. Make sure you're including things on your application that may stand out. Maybe if you've gotten honor roll or the dean's list, put those achievements on your application, so that way you can stand out. If you don't have any tech experience, that's fine. Maybe you've worked on a different job while you were in nursing school or prior to nursing school that you may have gotten Employee of the Month on. Like, those things are good. You don't necessarily have to have healthcare background experience to land jobs, hospital. Of course, if you have background in the healthcare field like I did, that's amazing, because they know that you are familiar with the nursing setting. I worked as a tech before, so they know that I'm very familiar with the bedside nursing setting. So they know that some stuff they won't have to necessarily teach me, as far as like the basic comfort measures and things of that sort. So really tailor your resume, fit the job that you want, and to make it stand out as much as possible. Because as a new grad, you're not gonna have any nursing job experience to really put on your application, but all of those other things that you can put on your application via your achievements in school, outside of school, volunteer work, all of those things will really help you stand out amongst the other candidates that just did the average or bare minimum. You really want to make sure you showcase to them that you are going to go above and beyond. Standing out amongst other new grads would be to have those certifications already, ACLS and BLS certifications, so that when you show to them that you're very proactive and you're not waiting around to get things done. Like that, those things really tell an employer what type of person or an employee they are looking to hire. And you really just want to stand out. It's possible. Don't think that you can't get a specialty unit, because you can. You don't have to settle for Med Surg if that's not what you really want. If you want to be a Med Surg nurse because you want to get as much experience and all of that in the Med Surg setting, go ahead. I'm not downing Med Surg whatsoever. Apply every type of nurse, but if that's not what you want to do, you ultimately want to be happy when you go to work. So don't settle for anything or any unit, just any unit. Go for whatever unit that you want to go for. And if that's a specialty unit, go for it. You are capable of getting that. I'm living proof that you are capable of getting that. Now, I hope you found all of these tips very helpful when it comes to landing that specialty unit. As a new grad nurse, I wish you guys the best of luck on your job search. Remember, just stand out, be confident, claim that the job is yours already, and it's going to be yours. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.